Welcome back, ninja community and persons that have just become ninja enough to view my materials. Congratulations on becoming ninja enough to view my materials. In this video, I'm going to be covering some techniques on the tonfa. That is what this is right here. This is a tonfa. It has no fixed ball bearings. This is a tonfa, which supposedly evolved from a crutch in Asia. And before I get into how a real shinobi would use, or some of the moves of how a real shinobi would use a tonfa, I will go over my quality statement disclaimer real quick, mostly for liability, so bear with me as I run through this real quick. Reliability. And then of course is, the viewer understands my quality statement and disclaimer video. Additionally agrees that this video could be treated as is with ballistic protection, which in short means don't have a seal on it, therefore don't guarantee the techniques and or your application of the techniques. And if you're watching this video with the intention of using any of its content and committing a crime, that is a crime. Actually using any of my content and committing a crime is a crime. Okay, also the viewer agrees that this is my intellectual property that I'm allowing others to view. Okay, so I'll begin by going over a few ways that a real shinobi will hold a tonfa. Okay, it is very unlikely that a real shinobi is going to hold it like a baton. Okay, this would be like holding it like a baton, or in a screamer, or even up high like in a screamer. A real shinobi is typically going to be holding a tonfa like this, or like this, or like this. This is how a real shinobi is typically going to be holding a tonfa. Okay. Now there are some techniques that are unique to a tonfa that don't typically apply to other weapons, as every weapon usually has strengths and weaknesses. I will cover a few techniques with a tonfa. Okay, so a few basic strikes. Using it like a baton is, and if someone is holding it like this, they're typically going to be doing strikes with it. It is less likely that they're going to be using it in a manner of as a grappling weapon or standing grappling weapon. Okay, so a strike with this would be a strike to the jaw followed through by a strike to the knee, right? And that would just basically be jaw knee. It's easy to remember by saying Johnny. Johnny uses a baton, right? And the strike to the jaw, right, is typically striking here across the jaw, which of course is the pressure point that causes boxers to get knocked out if they get hooked at the chin, right? And real shinobi are typically desensitized to that pressure point. It might cause some mild discomfort, but usually when someone is pushing, usually they would have to go in that direction. Okay, so another technique, we covered the jaw knee, right, is a strike with a wrap shot. The wrap shot comes from this position, as it is held here, and it is a strike this way. This wrap shot is much like a boxer's hook, right? If your opponent has stepped in, right, from this wrap shot, you're typically going to be hitting them on the side of the head up here near the temple, typically, okay? If your opponent is a martial artist and has somehow blocked the strike, this wrap shot be blocked here, it could be used as a more fluid weapon and come across the top and hit them in the face, right here. Okay. Then from this position, you're typically dealing with an opponent who has some sort of shield or weapon, as this hook could be used to move it out of the way and then hit them, right, as they strike this way, right? And that is just basic strikes this way followed into fluid movements. Okay. From this position, you're typically dealing with an opponent who has either a very long weapon or some sort of bladed weapon, as you are mostly guarding the wrist, right? I will not cover all of that in this video. Okay, from this position here, or if it is slid down this way, if it is done this way, it's typically used as a bludgeoning weapon. If anyone ever holds a tonfa with their hand across the top, they're either unskilled with it or they're actually trying to kill you. That is how a ninja, a real shinobi, is going to interpret this, as there are lethal strikes from this position, or very deadly strikes. I will not cover those in this video. Okay, some other strikes from a tonfa, of course, is just simple strikes straight in, right? Or just more like a punch this way, or a vertical punch from this position. Okay, so if you've watched the video so far, you should probably hit like hard like a ninja and subscribe to be alerted for when I do videos on YouTube. Comment on this video, subscribe, and of course check me out on Facebook under my artist name or my 10th ninja name, Mel-L. That's M-E-L-E-O. I have an Instagram, but I'm not going to tell you what my Instagram name is. You'll just have to be ninja and go figure that out on your own. And of course you can share my video with people who are ninja, but not with people who have to be ninja, because they might accidentally learn something. I will cover a little bit more on tonfa. Okay. On the tonfa. Now, you can train to resist wrist locks with a tonfa simply by holding it this way. Now, desensitizing that pressure point takes a lot more time and other ninja information that I'm not throwing out on YouTube. So, let's see. Here's another defense against a tonfa. Okay. It's fairly simple in principle. Okay, if the tonfa is used as a choking weapon like this, as a tonfa can be used as a choking weapon, there's just basically this one rule about choking. Apparently, only one person can choke you at a time. I didn't make the rules. I'm just telling you about it. Okay, a defense against the choke is to place your own hand at your neck. And it is very difficult if you have your hand at your neck. It is very difficult to try to choke you. They would have to remove your hand to start choking you. So that is a defense against choking someone with a tonfa. Now, if your hand is turned this way, right, that could be interpreted as resisting. So if your hand is this way, it is very difficult to try to choke you. I mean, they could try to hit your hand as much as they want, but typically not going to be choking you out with a tonfa. Okay, other strikes with a tonfa. Okay, as we have also talked about the using it as a baton, right? Like a jaw and a knee. Now, the reason why the wrap shot is done this way, right, is it is along the spine of the weapon, right, and has more power than if I was to hold it this way. Also, I would be protecting the inside of my arm from this wrap shot here. If someone was to have struck my arm, they'd be striking bone as opposed to soft muscle tissue. So this wrap shot